Live from WTVO 17 and your home team, Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
Nearly 2 years after an Illinois state trooper is killed in the line of duty, the man responsible is sentenced. The tragedy serves as a reminder to move over. Tens of thousands of COVID vaccine doses are making their way to Illinois. Governor J.B. Pritzker says it's perfect timing after the state reaches an important milestone. Plus, voters will have a say in the quality of the roads they rely on. City leaders describe how a referendum will continue to help rebuild Rockford. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy. Eric is off tonight. The truck driver who killed an Illinois state trooper in March of 2019 will serve 6 months in prison. Brooke Jones-Story was a 12-year veteran of ISP. She was killed when Craig Dittmar crashed into her while she was inspecting a semi-truck on US 20 near Freeport. Jones-Story was 34 years old. Dittmar pleaded guilty to reckless homicide and safety regulations violations that resulted in death. In addition to the 6-month sentence, the 56-year-old will serve 4 years of probation. Investigators in Winnebago County tracked down the man they say robbed a gas station last week. On January 29th, police were called to a mobile gas station on Blackhawk Boulevard in Rockton. Employees told officers a man robbed them at knife point and stole cash from the store. Nearby schools were placed on soft lockdown as investigators searched for the suspect. Police say this is the man responsible, 19-year-old Gabriel Fletcher of Roscoe. He was taken into custody today. He's charged with 1 count of armed robbery and 1 count of possession of cannabis. A sales tax that's been in effect in the Forest City for over a decade will show up on voters' ballots once again. Generated funds go to improving Rockford roads. Ari Bruckman reports it's a project that needs to be paid for with or without the referendum.
We're going to do road infrastructure one way or another, right? I mean, we're just not going to say, oh, no, we're not going to do that. This isn't a special program. This is something we have to have as roads that we can drive on.
A 1% infrastructure sales tax has been in place in the city of Rockford since 2007. In that time, $174 million have been raised and invested into city projects. February 23rd, Rockfordians will once again have the chance to vote on the referendum. Rockford Mayor Tom McNamara says there are only 2 options to fund the repairs for the city's infrastructure.
One is to rely on property taxes, which was our old way, and that is solely paid for by Rockfordians, and that increases our already high property tax burden. You can do a sales tax approach, and that is 30% paid for by outsiders. It's a consistent stream of money.
Republican Mark Stefanik is running for alderman in the 14th Ward against Democrat Mark Bonney. He, too, is strongly in favor of the 1% infrastructure sales tax and says it has been an economic boon for Rockford.
We've eliminated, millions of dollars in interest payments as a result of doing that. We've paid off some of the old bonds that we had floated to pay for our road improvements.
Mayor McNamara tells me voting yes on the referendum is a win-win for the community.
If you live in neighborhoods, well, we've invested an additional $1 million each year I've been mayor into neighborhood infrastructure. If you're a business owner and you need to move product across our community, when I took office, we had 15 bridges that had load restrictions or were closed. This existing capital improvement plan addresses all of them.
Reporting in Rockford, for your home team, I'm Ari Bruckman.
Part of the local revenue from recreational marijuana sales will support victims of domestic violence. The mayor's Office of Domestic Violence and Human Trafficking Prevention was awarded $600,000 in grants. More than $500,000 will go to Rockford's Family Peace Center to create a juvenile recovery program. The rest of the money will support a pilot program aimed at helping children impacted by violence understand the service gaps they face. With the Super Bowl Sunday just a few days away, Rockford's mayor urges the community to be smart while watching the game. Under Phase 4 mitigations, bars and restaurants are open with limited capacity. Group gatherings of up to 50 people are also permitted. And whether you celebrate your team's victory or loss, Mayor McNamara says use caution.
Continue to be vigilant. Make sure that you're washing your hands, make sure that you're taking precautions. We're not naive. We know there'll be some gatherings, but we also know that there are certain mitigations that you can do in your own home.
Health officials warn against traditional Super Bowl parties. A National Retail Confederation survey found about a quarter of Americans plan to watch the game with a group. The federal government is sending just under 100,000 vials of COVID vaccine to the state of Illinois. It comes the same day the governor says Illinois made significant progress with 1 million doses administered so far. Michelle Rave shows us how the extra doses will impact the state line.
Illinois will be able to open up more and more appointments and more locations.
The state of Illinois is getting more COVID-19 vaccines. The additional 97,000 doses are coming from the Federal Pharmacy Partnership Program because they're not needed for long-term care residents.
We have hundreds more vaccination sites operated by our 96 other local health departments and by our pharmacy partners, including Walgreens and Jewel Osco, Hy-Vee, and so many more.
Currently, the only local stores administering the vaccines are the Walgreens on North Alpine and Rockford and the one on East Riverside and Loves Park. The Winnebago County Health Department says to be patient because right now there isn't enough vaccines for everyone.
There are multiple registration systems, and we're not bothered by the fact that you register at multiple locations. We will not be hurt that you didn't come to Winnebago County Health Department, that instead you went to Walgreens or your healthcare provider.
Dr. Sandra Martell says for now, the health department is not involved with this disbursement.
The state is working through some of those plans. We don't know where that's at, but as of today, we are not involved with disbursement of vaccine to the pharmacy partners.
I reached out to Walgreens to find out how many each store could be getting, including those here in the state line, but didn't hear back. And while people in Phase 1B have started getting their vaccines, the state is still working on getting everyone vaccinated in Phase 1A. The governor says by February 15th, all long-term care facilities should be done.
Essentially, there's been a reallocation out of that to make sure that we can get as many vaccines into the arms of as many people as possible.
Reporting for your home team, I'm Michelle Rave.
Teachers and staff of a local school district roll up their sleeves to receive the coronavirus vaccine. About 650 doses were given out today. More will be administered tomorrow. In all, about 1,000 people will be vaccinated. District employees are considered essential workers under Illinois' Phase 1B vaccination plan. Superintendent Dr. Daniel Wiesman says it's an exciting day for District 100.
We've been trying really hard to make sure that we can keep kids in school the second half of the year. We're trying to make sure that all kids that want to come into the school can do so in a safe environment. So this is a really important step for the school district in taking a step towards normalcy.
The Boone County Health Department helped administer the doses. And in the Rockford School District, employees started getting vaccinated today as well. It was the first of several vaccination clinics. More will be held over the next 3 weeks. The Winnebago County Health Department's giving out the shots at multiple locations. All district employees are eligible but not required. A coronavirus relief package continues to move forward despite major sticking points between lawmakers. Coming up, the compromises some say need to be made in order to have a bipartisan deal. And after a number of Illinois lawmakers come down with coronavirus at a lame duck session, the governor says it's time they get vaccinated. We'll tell you when that will be tonight at 6.
Temperatures this afternoon close to that 30-degree mark, but it is going to be some time before we see temperatures this warm. Find out how long the cold sticks around and more on our snow and wind coming up in the forecast a little later.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team with Eric Wilson, Mimi Murphy, Sports Director Scott Leber, and Chief Meteorologist Candice King.
As President Biden advances his COVID relief deal, Democrat and Republican lawmakers say they want to work together. But the sides remain far apart on what should and should not be included in the bill. Our Washington correspondent Basil John reports on what members of Congress think is the best path forward as he keeps you connected to the nation's capital.
We'll get Republican support.
As President Joe Biden pushes forward with his $1.9 trillion COVID relief plan, Republicans are calling for compromise.
This needs to be a bipartisan effort.
New York Republican Congressman Tom Reed says the House Problem Solvers Caucus is in active discussions with both the Senate and the White House.
What we're trying to do in the Republican Problem Solvers Caucus, as well as talking to Republican other members, what can we agree to rather quickly?
Reed says there is room to negotiate on stimulus checks and school funding, But one issue is more important than the rest.
We need to get the vaccine distributed. That is what the priority, I think, developing in the Republican circles in the House, especially in the Problem Solvers Caucus Republicans, we want to push.
While Democrats say they're ready to work together, they aren't willing to water down the president's proposal. Connecticut Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal.
My hope is that our Republican colleagues will cooperate and collaborate, but we can't wait for them to decide what they want to do.
Pennsylvania Democratic Congressman Matt Cartwright says the country is losing time and money.
What I'm worried about most of all is folks that want to kind of slow walk negotiations. This is not the time for it, and Americans don't want that.
Cartwright warns if Republicans fight this bill, the economy will suffer. Reporting in Washington, I'm Basil John.
Now, your first warned weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Candice King.
A lot to get to as we've got some big changes coming up after today. In fact, we've got a little more wintry weather tomorrow and then a lot of cold and even several rounds of some snow going into the weekend and into early next week. So let's dive right into this. No problems here tonight. Tomorrow morning, just a little before sunrise for some, we could have a very light mix of some freezing drizzle, freezing rain, even some sleet, rain and snow. However, I do not think this is going to be too much of an impact for the Thursday morning commute. That precipitation will increase, however, once we get into Thursday afternoon. As some colder air comes in, we'll start to see that transition over to snow. Could actually be as early as about 10 or even 11 o'clock tomorrow morning for some, but by noon, all of us should be dealing with that snow and periods of heavy snow going through the afternoon. And then by Thursday evening, Thursday night, that snow will begin to taper off, but our wind picks up and our temperatures will fall, so blowing and drifting snow will be a hazard not only through the evening but also into tomorrow night and for Friday morning. Now our storm system that we're going to be dealing with just gaining strength here back off to the west, and this will move closer to us as we go through the day tomorrow. So let's plan this out. Here we are at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Notice the leading edge of some of that wintry mix coming in. Again, this is expected to be light, but between about 5, 6 and even 7 o'clock we should begin to see that move in from west and then to east. Now Futurecast is very quick to transition us over to snow as early as about 10 or 11 o'clock. Our temperatures are still going to be above freezing at this time, so I think we might still be able to hold on to a little bit of that mix. So some areas we've got rain, some we've got some freezing drizzle or even sleet that could take us through the noon hour. But once we get to noon and then for the remainder of the afternoon, we've got that snow, and it is going to be heavy at times. The snow will be coming down. We've got a little bit of wind with that. In fact, some higher and more intense snow bands could be working through during the afternoon. So there is going to be an impact to the afternoon and then evening commute. Now, once we get closer to about 4 or 5 o'clock, notice we start to see this begin to lighten up during the late afternoon and then into the evening. But it's at this time we've got a very strong Arctic cold front that'll be coming through. And with that front, our wind is going to pick up and our temperatures are going to fall behind that. So even though the snow will be coming to an end, outside of a couple of flurries, we're still going to be dealing with that potential for some blowing and drifting snow. Now, I want to talk about the wind because we've got a lot of things to discuss with this system outside of the snow. We've got the wind that'll be coming in initially from the south tomorrow morning and through the first part of the afternoon. But watch what happens as we get further into the afternoon. Our wind direction then will begin to shift around to the northwest behind the strong Arctic cold front. As this takes place between about 3 and 4 o'clock to the west and then spreading eastward, our northwesterly wind is going to pick up. And it's during tomorrow evening, tomorrow night that those winds could be gusting 35 to even 40 miles per hour. They'll lighten up a little bit into Friday, but still you have some of that blowing and drifting snow into Friday morning, and some of that could even last into the afternoon. Now, as far as temperatures are concerned, we're in the 30s during the first half of the day, but behind that front, look how we drop off here to the west, and by sunset tomorrow we are all in the teens. So we've got that quick drop in temperature, and any moisture that might still be left on the roadways that isn't kind of whisked away from the wind could actually freeze. So you might have a quick flash freeze, which could also cause some road conditions to slicken up. So here we go, kind of planning this out. You've got the wintry mix through the morning, that snow then mixing in with some sleet for the afternoon, and then tapering off to some flurries once we get into tomorrow evening. evening. Quiet and dry for us now. A live look with our Mercy House Skytrack camera over Rockford. 34 again. That's initially early tomorrow, down to 10 tomorrow night. When you look at these temperatures, we're in the teens and the single digits. We've got the core of the cold coming in by the end of the weekend. Wind chills, some of those nights could be down to 20 below or even colder.
Ooh, dangerously cold. All right, thanks, Candice. With those frigid temperatures on the way, area warming shelters are prepared to open their doors to help people warm up. In Winnebago County, the Overnight Cafe, Rockford Rescue Mission, and Carpenter's Place are available. In Boone County, the Belvedere Oasis and Police Dispatch Window are open after 4 p.m. There are also several options in Rock County, including the Beloit Public Library and Rock County Overnight Shelter. Find addresses and hours of operation on our website. Scott's in next to talk sports. He'll have some thoughts on whether Fred VanVleet should be an NBA All-Star after the big game he had last night. And is VanVleet the GOAT of Rockford sports?
Now, the Napleton Sports Desk with Sports Director Scott Leber.
Fred VanVleet's sensational 54-point game last night has sparked more talk about him being an NBA All-Star this season. That's if the NBA has an All-Star game. VanVleet's big night has lifted his scoring average for the season to 20.4 points per game. That ranks 35th in the league. He's also averaging more than 6 assists per game, and he's become one of the top defensive guards in the NBA. So he's certainly deserving of All-Star status. But it's not a layup. He'll be an All-Star. 8 to 10 guards would be picked for the All-Star game. The list of guards having monster years is a long one, starting with the Wizards' Bradley Beal. He leads the league in scoring at 35 points per game. You've also got Damian Lillard, Steph Curry, Trae Young, and James Harden, who are perennial All-Stars, and Kyrie Irving. And other guards having big years include Russell Westbrook, Jaylen Brown, Colin Sexton, Donovan Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox, Devin Booker, and the Bulls' Zach LaVine. If VanVleet is not named an All-Star, at the very least, he should be put in the three-point contest. If going 11 of 14 from deep last night didn't underscore his status as an elite shooter, nothing will. With all VanVleet has accomplished, he has cemented himself as the GOAT of Rockford basketball, the greatest of all time. He might also be the GOAT of Rockford athletes, period. At the end of the last century, in 1999, I put together my list of Rockford's 50 greatest athletes of all time. Number 1 on my list was figure skater Janet Lynn. She competed in a pair of Olympics and won a bronze. She was also a 5-time U.S. champion. Number 2 was track and field sprinter Bob Packard. He ran in the 1936 Olympics, and some of his high school records still stand today. Number 3 was quarterback Lawrence Walquist. He started at the University of Illinois from 1918 through 1921 and played quarterback for some of George Halas's best Bears teams. And number 5 was boxer Sammy Mandel. He was the world lightweight champion for 4 years from 1926 through 1930. That's a very impressive top 5. VanVleet could rightfully take his spot somewhere in that group, depending on how much emphasis you place on each sport and each achievement. If he doesn't belong in that top 5, he's close, and at age 26, he is far from finished raking up accomplishments. That's my take. We'll be right back.
Thanks for watching. World News Tonight is next. We'll see you at 6.